I'm going to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video. This video is going to talk about the mention of a miscarriage. So this is a topic that I feel like not enough light is brought to. As somebody who's going through it and is experiencing it for the first time, I just feel like there has to be a better way to go about this situation, and our medical field is not handling it properly at all. They're not thinking about the mental health effects. They're not thinking about the long-term tolls. They're just not thinking about really the effects it's going to have on somebody. So this is something that I want to try to bring some light to and see if maybe we can get some changes made for people who have to go through these situations, because they do happen. So this is my story. I am currently 20 weeks pregnant with a baby boy, and found out on February 12th, it is February 14th, that my son had passed away. I had went to all of my OB appointments. I'd been following up all my prenatal care, doing everything I was supposed to do. All the genetic testing came back fine. On January 6th, we had a positive heartbeat. It was strong at 145. Nothing, no concerns, nothing like that. Went in on February 3rd for another OB follow-up. The doctor was unable to find his heartbeat, but reassured me that he was moving and he was fine. That he was just being too active to get a solid heartbeat reading on him. So they sent me along my way, which was fine. He's been my doctor for over 20 years. I mean, I had no reason to doubt him. I have 3 happy, healthy kids, you know, so I've trusted him through all my pregnancies. I had no reason to doubt that the baby was fine. So I go to my ultrasound on the 12th and find out that the baby had no heartbeat, and that he was only measuring at 14 weeks, not 20, which means that he's been passed away for a while. And that on the 3rd, he had no heartbeat. So, I mean, with the doctor not being able to find a heartbeat, me being a high-risk patient, he should have sent me in for an ultrasound, but he didn't. And so here we are now on February 14th. It's been 2 days since I found out about my son passing away. I have been through hell and back the last 2 days. The doctors are not taking the serious matter. They're not treating it seriously at all. You know, it's, well, we can do a DNC, or we can induce labor and you can give birth, and, you know, all this other stuff. But they wanted me to wait until the 18th to even go in and figure out what we were going to do. I had to fight with 3 different nurses and call 3 different clinics to get on the books to be seen before the 18th. So I went in yesterday on the 13th and finally got seen, but I also had to wait in a waiting room, an OB waiting room, for over an hour, while I had to watch pregnant people come and go and newborn babies come in and out. And they did not fast track me. They did not put me in a room right away. They did not be like, hey, text when you get here, we'll let you know when your room's ready, then you can come in. There was no sensitivity put into place to protect somebody who is mentally going through grief and mentally knowing that they no longer have their baby with them. Instead, they put you in the room with everybody who is happy with healthy babies and going on about their day like nothing ever happened, while you sit there devastated. I had to get them to call and schedule the induction, and I was told I would go in at 7 a.m. today, February 14th, for my induction. And I called this morning to confirm everything was on board, and they told me, we're busy. We don't have a bed or a spot open for you. You're gonna have to wait. We'll call you when we have one. I said, well, is there a time frame? And they said, it could be hours, it could be days. We'll call you when we have something open. So now I'm sitting here at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, still no call, no nothing. Sitting here wondering how long I'm gonna have to sit here with my son still inside of me, even though he has no heartbeat, even though he is not living. I have to just sit here knowing that, while they have no plan in place to speed up the process, to help me even be able to start my grieving process. And to me, the issue that I'm having is there's no sensitivity around it. There's no sense of urgency. It's not like they have any protocols put in place whatsoever. And I know that this might not happen every single day, But I have talked to plenty of women in support groups over the last couple days that say that they have been through late-term miscarriage and they have had to carry their babies for a week, for 4 days, for sometimes 10, because there's no sense of urgency, because there is no longer a heartbeat. The baby is not at risk. So they're not in no hurry to induce mom to save baby, which I understand. I've had 3 spontaneous labors. I've given birth naturally 3 times to my kids. I know labor happens. I know that you can't predict it. I know that, you know, labor and delivery is overwhelmed right now because they have all these babies coming in. I understand it. I'm not oblivious to it. But there needs to be some type of protocol that protects people going through stuff like I am right now. The issue that I'm having is nobody's thinking about the long-term mental effects. Nobody's thinking about the fact of how much every day, every hour, every minute, this is crushing my mental health. Not only did I know that I lost a baby, but it's not like it is in a first trimester miscarriage where you start bleeding and you can pass the baby at home. And yes, it's devastating, but you know, like, it's a little bit easier mentally. I've had 4 miscarriages. I know. This is my first late-term miscarriage, though. The first one that I now have to sit here and know that he's had a heartbeat for 4 months, 3 months, you know, that he had a name. We bought his car seat and his clothes and did a gender reveal and picked out his name, and he was a part of the family, and now he's gone. And we can't even as a family start to grieve and deal with that because there's no urgency to give us that closure. There's no urgency to make sure that mom and baby is okay because baby's not okay. That leaves me open to infection. That leaves me open to complications the longer he decomposes inside of me. And there's not even an ounce of urgency on that. I got told, well, you might not be able to hold him because he's already been decomposing for so long. Okay, well then why are we dragging our feet and taking our time with this? And I'm not the only mom that has gone through this trauma. I'm not the only mom that has had to go into OB buildings and sit there with pregnant women and newborn babies and, you know, sit there and just hold your stomach because you know your baby's no longer with you. I'm not the only mom that's had to advocate and push for, I'm not going to wait a week to make a decision on what we're going to do and to start my medical treatment plan. I'm not the only mom that's had to wait a week because her induction kept being pushed off and pushed off and pushed off while I'm mentally being destroyed every day because I feel like I'm no more than a human casket at this point, just carrying my baby while I know that he is no longer living inside of me. This is something that needs to change. They need to have a separate room at an OB office that they can put us in. So when somebody is dealing with grief of a miscarriage, whether it's first trimester, second trimester, whatever the case may be, they don't have to sit there with all those other babies. Or when full-term babies are born, stillborn, and something happened and there was a complication during delivery, those moms should not have to sit in the waiting room with every other mom that gets to be happy that they have their baby while they are actively grieving theirs. There needs to be a separate room inside of an OB office for moms going through trauma. There needs to be protocols put into place at the hospital where there is a room reserved for somebody who needs some type of intervention. We should not have to sit here and wait with no time frame, no timeline, no answers until, oh, we'll get to you when we get to you. You're not a priority. That is not okay. That is not okay for anybody going through this situation. It's not okay medically, and it is not okay emotionally. The emotional damage that this does to people is not okay, and that needs to change. Thank you for listening to my story, and if you've been through something similar, I am so sorry you've had to go through this. I think at this point we need to share this video as much as we can. We need to figure out who to reach out to. So if you have any advice or you have any suggestions on where to start to reach out to, you know, do we reach out to the hospitals? Do we reach out to the OB offices? Where do we start to put this in place to protect moms that are grieving in a time where they should not have to be put in a situation to feel like they are forced to watch everybody else be happy while they are sad? So if you have suggestions, let me know. You know, like I said, let's share this video. Let's get the word out there. Let's figure out how to change this. So then that way, you know, other people don't have to sit here and go through this, and it's taken a lot more seriously with a lot more sensitivity. Thank you.